Welcome to the school committee meeting of Monday, June 8th, 6:30 p.m. We'll start with the acceptance of the minutes of the budget subcommittee meeting for May 26th, 2020.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Three of us. And then we'll move on to the minutes of the meeting of May 26th, 2020.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Nothing under communications or audience. We'll move into Dr. Cron with the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the 2019-2020 school year retirees from the Rockland Public Schools. A few have already retired, but I'd like to acknowledge them anyway. Susan Murphy retired on October 18th. Diane Mahoney retired on December 20th. Jane Ellis retired on March 31st. And Mary Ellen Woodward, after 35, nearly 36 years, will retire on June 30th, 2020. That's from the high school. Rogers Middle School, Nancy Grattan, 30.7 years. She will retire on June 30th. Janet Cook, after 20 years, will retire on June 30th. Brian Pretzer, after 9 years, will retire on June 30th. And Lori Houston will retire after nearly 24 years of service. From the Jefferson School, Margaret Benson is leaving us. Sue Ellen Duquette, after 24 years. Teresa Moscardelli, after 12.6 years. She will retire. They will both retire on June 30th. And also retiring on June 30th from Memorial Park, Ruth Ann Lasciuto, after 23.6 years. And from the Eston School, Mary Ellen Concannon, after 9 years. In our daycare, we have Linda DeRoss, who is retiring in August, who retired in August, and Kelly Ann Kelly, who retired on March 25th, 2020. So thank you to each one of these retirees. Some of you I worked with for many years at the high school, and I can picture you interacting with children, and I hope that your retirement is filled with lots of loving memories of the time that you spent in the school serving students. There's no better career in the world than working with children in any capacity, and you were all exceptional, so thank you for that. Next, I would like to just report to the committee and to the community briefly on some guidance received from the Department of Education on Friday, and this was regarding materials that we would need for reopening. So I'm just going to share my screen with everyone, and I hope it works this time. There we go. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, I see nodding. Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So this is an overview of the guidance that was received from DESE. These are recommendations, and I just want to pass them along. We are obviously considering all of these recommendations, and much of what I will present to you tonight, we had imagined 2 weeks ago when I presented. So based on initial federal, state guidance and recommendations, sorry, I'm trying to make this go away so I can read my own screen. Not working. There we go. Hello, Mr. Mills.
Howdy.
Based on guidance and recommendations, we want all faculty and students to stay home if they're sick. We want you to cover your face with a mask. We're going to socially distance using the 6 feet as a measure. We are going to frequently wash or sanitize our hands, and we are going to ensure that our facilities and surfaces are regularly cleaned and sanitized and disinfected, and that hazardous materials are disposed of properly. Also in the guidance, they're discussing personal protective equipment, or as we refer to it more often than not, PPEs. Students will bring their own face coverings or masks to school, so it will be expected that families provide face coverings or masks to school. However, there will be exceptions to wearing face coverings or masks only if not safe for you to do so due to age, medical conditions, or other considerations. So we're going to have to make arrangements for that. Staff may choose to wear their own mask or use one provided by the school. Again, the first bullet says students bring your own face coverings or masks to school. That will be the expectations, but it's also the expectation that the school have enough on hand for kids should they fail to bring a mask to school. We'll have a backup supply of masks. Nurses and others who work in close proximity with students should wear comprehensive PPE. So it is our responsibility in this guidance, they're making it clear it's our responsibility to acquire the cleaning and sanitizing supplies that we need to safely reopen, current with this current guidance and the guidance that we're anticipating shortly. Nurses and healthcare providers will need additional specialized supplies, and custodians will be properly equipped. These are the guidelines as given by the state yesterday, or on Friday. What you are looking at is, this is their recommendation if you had 100 individuals per group per school. So that means for each student, you would have one disposable mask per week per student. And that's meant to supplement what parents would be providing. For teachers and other staff, we need to have on hand 5 disposable masks per week per teacher. And for school nurses, 10 disposable masks per week per school nurse. This is the guidance that's given. And you'll notice that they gave it to us assuming 100% attendance, 50% attendance, or 25% attendance. And again, we're continually trying to read the tea leaves here with what their guidance is going to be for the opening of schools. But I'm assuming that that attendance percentages, we can anticipate that we're going to be receiving some guidance as far as how full our buildings can be. Next, if we have our nurses, for example, or special education teachers who are working with particular students who may be more apt, so we're calling them in high intensity contact with students or handling waste materials. So this would apply, for example, to our daycare, or it could apply to any toileting situations that we have in the elementary school with some of with a handful of students. But they would need some very special materials. And these are the guidelines that they have given us. Recommendations for building supplies. They're giving us guidelines, a third of a gallon of hand sanitizer per classroom per week. That would be at 100% attendance. And so we can then take that figure and do our math on how much we're going to need to purchase. The regular education classroom, what they've given us as guidelines to date, we must maintain 6 feet of separation. Desks must be spaced and facing the same direction. They're forecasting significantly smaller class sizes with a maximum of 12 individuals. That includes students and staff. Isolate individuals. What they're recommending is, where possible, you isolate individual groups of students with a consistently assigned teacher, and that's obviously to minimize. This particular bullet is very, very challenging for us, and one that we will find ourselves coming back to over the next couple of months, as far as there's going to be recommendations to put kids in small groups and keep them together. However, that in and of itself creates an entire list of challenges that may in and of itself outweigh the benefits of putting them in small groups. So we will be coming back to this bullet, I can promise you that. And we must have procedures in place for regular cleaning, sanitizing, disinfecting, and disposal. Entering and moving about the school. Protocols must be developed to maintain a 6-foot distance when students are entering and exiting. At this time, and this is a big deal, they are not recommending a temperature check of students at the entry point due to the significant number of false positive and false negative results. This is kind of a big deal. We were pricing out all different kinds of temperature taking devices, some of which were very expensive and mounted on the ceiling. So this is something that now is kind of a game changer for us, and we know procedurally we will most likely not be taking temperatures on the way in of every student. Protocols must be established for effective hand washing, and again, we're going to keep reinforcing the proper way to wash your hands and providing students with opportunities to do that. We need to provide them with an opportunity before and after meals, before and after using the laboratory. Anytime they sneeze, we need to make sure, and if they can't wash their hands at an actual sink with soap, then we need to provide disinfectant gel for them to wash their hands. And sanitizer with at least 60% of alcohol can be used in place. We need to have a system in place for protocols to discharge students who become sick during the school day, and we need to maintain a separate space for them. This is a huge challenge for us in our elementary schools that are at this time fairly crowded. Obviously, we will comply with this and make this work, but it is challenging because we don't have a lot of separate rooms. But we need to have a separate room for students who have symptoms. We have to do that in each of our buildings. We need specialized PPE for nurses and staff who, again, in the high intensity contact with students. In conclusion, just to wrap this up, the primary purpose of the guidance that we received from DESE, and this is just my opinion, but it is to give us as much time as possible to order the materials we need. So I think that's why they gave us the heads up with these materials prior to us receiving the full guidance that we're supposed to be getting any day now. This is not the complete guidance expected to be released in the coming days. And so that's very important. I want people to understand that when that guidance comes out, I have started to assemble already a reopening school task force that will address the countless details that we will need to face upon reopening of school. The committee will include Delshawn Flip, our Rockland health agent, the Rockland Police Department, the Rockland Fire Department, Kathy Ryan, who is the Rockland Public Schools head nurse. There will be a representative from the Teachers Association. There will be a representative from the special education community. There will be a parent. There will be a representative of the school committee, which should be in this, but I did this quickly this afternoon and left them off, but you will be invited to be a part of that, obviously. And I would also like a student to be a part of that. So when we get the guidance, the senior leadership team will come together and we will draft a plan, so to speak, and then this task force will have at it and pick it apart and give us all kinds of input and good ideas about how to make it better and safer. But I've been meeting weekly with the town. This morning I was on the phone with the chief of police and Scott Duffy and town hall, and they all understand that reopening school is something that is not just something that the schools are going to do, but it's something that the whole town is going to be a part of doing. And we're communicating quite regularly with them. But I did want to give that update, and that was a very long update, but we did just receive that guidance. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And then finally, from the superintendent's report, I have sadly, since the last meeting of the school committee, for personal reasons, Dick Phelps has resigned from the school committee, leaving us with a huge vacancy.
Mhm.
Since my arrival in 2012, Dick has been a resource, an inspiration, a tireless volunteer for all things Rockland, including being a member or co-chair or vice chair of the school building committee, not only this current committee, but the previous building committee. And he has been an active member of the school committee for 26 years. I will miss him a great deal, and I thank him from the bottom of my heart for his service to the school committee and to the school department and to the town. But on a personal level, thank you for just being such a great man and setting an example for how a man should behave in 2020. And I have the utmost respect for you, Dick, and will miss you on this committee. I want to now tell the public that we have a meeting scheduled with the Board of Selectmen on July 7th for the purpose of filling the school committee vacancy. At this meeting, both committees, this is the law and the town charter, both committees will vote on who will replace Dick Phelps on the school committee for the remainder of his term, which is approximately 2 years. Interested candidates should send a letter of interest to the Board of Selectmen and to the school committee expressing your interest in filling this vacancy. I would now like to turn this over to our school committee chair, Jill Maroney. I think she has a few things to say.
I do. I actually would like to introduce our state representative, Dave DeCoste. He is here on Dick's behalf. Unmute.
Muted.
You're muted.
Dave, you've muted.
There you
I'm
go.
unmuted now. There you go. Dick Phelps. There was so much I can, and I'm sure Senator Keenan, I see him down there in Quincy, I assume, had the same problem. It is impossible to fit into one of these everything that Dick Phelps did.
No.
And what we wrote is just doesn't do him justice. So let me just speak through what I think what should be said, which is to build on what Alan said, and you can't add too much to it. He has just been a model citizen. From what I understand, and people I've spoken to, he's one of only 3 people living that have had a hand in every single Rockland school building that is now standing. He has been around for that long. He has affected thousands of graduated Rockland high school students in the decades that he has spent, and not only within the school system, where his influence and his talents have been immeasurable, but also as a citizen. As an example, Alan, the doctor, as you alluded to, as an example of how somebody should act. And he has really led a model life, and his testament, as a matter of fact, his 2 sons. We've got Rick is over here in Norwell as a school resource officer, while his son Jeff is carrying on with the insurance company. And so I can't say enough, and I can tell you we pass on from the legislature the many thanks. You can't get enough guys like Dick Phelps, and there really are. When they come along, they're just too valuable to say goodbye. So on behalf of the lower house of the legislature, Dick, thank you very much. And I look forward to presenting this in person once everything's safe to do so. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. I'm going to now pass it to our state Senator John Keenan, please. Welcome. We can't hear you.
That's it.
Now you're on mute.
Nope.
We can't hear you
Nope.
still.
He's talking, but he's not, we're not hearing him.
But I can't hear him. I can see him talking.
There it goes.
Try it now. No.
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 Senator, do you want to try to, we'll go on and you can log out and log back in and see? Do you want to try that? Yes, he's nodding to me, yes. Okay. So then from us here in Rockland, I have a plaque to present to Mr. Phelps, the same thing. As soon as it is safe to do so, I will be stopping by to pass this to him. It says on the Town of Rockland, Richard Phelps, Rockland School Committee for 26 years of dedicated service. So I will be bringing that to him. I had a few words, but I'll finish if Tom Mills, Emily, or Mike wants to say a few words. We'll start with Mr. Mills.
Yeah, Dick's a great friend. Dick's, as everybody says, a great person, and he's going to be sorely missed. And I will miss his counsel every day. Sorry to hear that. Good luck, Dick. I thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Mills. Mike Garofalo?
Yeah, I mean, what more can be said about somebody like Dick? I mean, I can remember him being on the school committee when my grandmother was still alive, and she was working in the superintendent's office. So, you know, that's going back to the early 90s. So, you know, there's not much that Dick hasn't done for this town, from what his business has done, from how his kids have carried on his business. You know, it's just, with all this mess, with the fact that our budget's getting croaked and we don't know how school's supposed to look and start, not having Dick is, I wish him all the best. And you know, I'm sure we'll see him once things calm down. We'll see him floating around, because Dick's never one to miss a football game or anything that goes on at the schools. But, you know, hopefully things will calm down soon so we can see him soon.
Thanks. Emily?
I would just like to say that Mr. Phelps, I still have to call him that. In Rockland, he has generational change, I think I would like to call it, between his business and his 3 children that have been active also in our community. Even though all 3 of them no longer live in Rockland, they still take great pride in our community. And I think that is based on Dick and his wife, and they're great role models that they have been for so many years.
Thank you. Senator Keenan, we'll try to go back to you again.
Good luck.
Luck.
No, sorry. That's okay.
Oh, so sorry.
We appreciate you coming. Thank you. We'll tell Dick that you were here. Dick wanted me to say on his behalf that it was time for him, that he decided when he was going to run again. That was what we sort of discussed, that when he felt that it was time for him to be done, that he would listen to that part of him. And that's what he is saying. That's what he wanted me to share with all of you, that he decided that it is time to go out on a high note. And so I myself have prepared a little statement for him, because I know he is listening. And like you, Emily, he has me call him Dick, but to me, he is still Mr. Phelps. So, Mr. Phelps, you are a true gentleman. You have been a huge mentor to me, and I have learned so much from your wisdom and experience. I am truly blessed to have served alongside of you for 2 years, and thank you for all you have done, not only for me, but for the town of Rockland and the Rockland schools. All right. Thank you on behalf of the thousands of students. Your dedicated service has affected over your 26 years. You are a true Rockland Bulldog. You are the essence of bleeding blue, and Rockland Public Schools and all of the school committee you have served with. Thank you. And with you, thank you, and with you, and wish you all the best. You are one of a kind, and you will truly be missed. You said that we could handle this without you, but I know you're just a phone call away. So thank you for trusting us, the school committee here, to be able to go on without you, but there's certainly big shoes to fill. With that, I'm going to move back on to the next thing so I can compose myself here. We'll go on to reports. Monthly reports for the month of May. We have admissions for Dr. Harrison, Ms. Bond, Ms. Smith, Mrs. Shifley, Mrs. Sheehan, and guidance with Mrs. Black.
Motion to accept.
Second.
So 2 motions, 2 seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
4 of us. School newsletters for June for Eston, Memorial Park, Rockland High School, and Jefferson.
Look good as always.
I agree.
Yes.
Voting, do we have 2 motions? 4 motions, I'm sorry.
I didn't. For this newsletters?
Oh, I had it written down. Okay, skip that.
Yep.
On to old business. Technology acceptable use policy is enclosed. We'll pass that to Dr. Cron.
Yeah, I hope everyone's had a chance to review it. It hadn't been updated for quite a number of years, and we just want to update it. We think it's a good time to update it. It has some very practical requirements and advice for how to remain safe online. It outlines our expectations for use of Rockland Public Schools technology, and it's a very thorough document, and I recommend that the school committee adopt it.
Okay. Motion to table?
I have a sec. This is our second, right? Second reading?
Is this a second reading on this one?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's sec-
Yes.
Second.
okay, motion to approve.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The
Aye,
4
aye.
of us. Moving on to the FY20, FY21 budget. Back to you, Dr. Cron.
Yes, I ask that this remain on our agenda each meeting, just so that I can provide you any new information that we have on the budget. There's really nothing new to report at this time. Again, we're awaiting outcome or some guidance from DESE that we should be receiving any day, and all of that guidance will have budget implications. Obviously, everything from transportation to number of students allowed in a classroom at a time, to how to handle cafeterias and larger settings like band and chorus and things like that. So we're anticipating all of that guidance is going to have budget ramifications. As you know from the last meeting I went through and presented, we are poised and we are ready for that guidance. And again, as I mentioned earlier in this meeting, we have a task force that will get together immediately and make sure that we get a lot of stakeholder input on that plan, because it's going to be important. I will say, just, you know, my hope for this process is that, you know, I am anticipating that this is going to be very challenging. I'm anticipating the return to school to be challenging for parents, challenging for students, challenging for teachers, staff, administrators, challenging for everyone. And I would ask that everyone remember how challenging it is for everyone else. I've been reminding our administrators, you know, people are really, really tightly wound right now. People are tense and they're anxious and they're not feeling their best. And let's all try to remember that as we enter some difficult times, is all I'm trying to say. Not so well. But I would just want to say thank you to the town. When it comes to this budget, I couldn't be more confident in working with Doug and Biz and the finance committee and the board of selectmen. I'm very confident that we are all rowing in the same direction here. So I am very optimistic that whatever comes our way, we're going to get through. That's really all I have on FY20 and 21 budget. Jane, was there anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Thank you, Dr. Cron. I agree with you. I feel like we're in good shape with the town. They understand where we're coming from. We understand where they're coming from. This is all unforeseen, and we're sort of making do with what we have. Moving on to elementary school improvement plan. Back to you, Dr. Cron.
Thank you. Well, we have our elementary principals with us tonight. Perhaps you could take turns saying hello and saying a few. They developed the elementary school improvement plan as a group, but each of the 3 elementaries have individual needs and programs. So they're obviously going to be slightly different at each school. But I think the point is, we have a district improvement plan. And from that district improvement plan comes our building improvement plans, and they are all aligned. And again, the idea is that we're all rowing in the same direction. So elementary principals, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, I'll begin. I'm Michelle Shifley, the principal of Jefferson Elementary School. Myself, along with Jan Sheehan, principal of Memorial Park School, Marilyn Smith, principal of Eston School, developed a common elementary school improvement plan. Most of it is exactly the same. There are parts near the end as far as things that need to be done in our building and some communication methods that might be slightly different, but we worked hard together to try to imagine school in the environment that we are entering into. We have 4 parts: student learning, instructional practice, communication, and resources. I'll be talking about student learning. And we'll be continuing with our English language arts and math and science programs. The math, we're doing math workshop based on math and practice. Due to budgetary concerns, we put off purchasing a new math program, but we are working with our math coach to adapt the math and practice to our classrooms. Our main task when we got together is really to adapt instruction to think about next year and whether it's remote or some kind of hybrid possibility, how to train both our teachers and adapt our curriculum to work in those frameworks. So a lot of what you see is taking our programs, and we're really going to have to think about how to best deliver the instruction in a variety of manners. Because of this year, we will add foundations to grade 4, which is our phonics program. Due to school closure, we need to continue. It usually ends in grade 3. We will be continuing it into grade 4. iReady has served us to showed to be a very valuable resource in assessment, intervention, and as a remote learning resource. We used it during this past year in both reading and math, and we'd like to continue to do that. As far as assessment is concerned, we're trying to develop remote learning expectations, including tools for assessment that are common among all 3 elementary schools. iReady is a great resource for that. Again, as I said, it's a computer program for reading and math. So we'll be using that as benchmarks 3 times a year. We have other benchmark assessments such as DIBELS and DRA that if we are back in person, that we can also administer to students to check on learning. We also would want to run data meetings and take most of the data meeting time to look at interventions for students and learning targets, because our teachers are pretty adept at looking at data. At this point, we've been doing it for a while. So now what are we going to do with that data? A huge part of our plan is about measuring and monitoring behavioral health. We feel it's extremely important after this period of time out of school, for both, not only for just students, for their families, and for staff. It's going to be a huge priority coming re-entering school. We already have programs in place, PBIS, responsive classroom, second step, but I think we're going to have to really rely on our school psychologists and school adjustment counselors to help us guide the whole community back toward re-entry and helping both our students and families. We have also began staff training over the past year in a program called RULER, which is an evidence-based social emotional program that teaches students and staff to identify and manage their emotions, which we think is going to be, again, extremely important as we enter into the new school year. We have a team that was trained, and our plan is to start to roll it out to staff over as we enter into the fall, and also to students. In the area of technology, we would like to support continue to support STEAM curriculum and the use of technology at home. Our STEAM staff members at the elementary, Rachel Mack, Lisa Ryan, Debbie Hogan, have just been instrumental in helping our very youngest learners get on the technology, and we need that support. We really feel like we need to do parent workshops for remote learning tools. That's essential at the beginning of the year. A lot of our youngest learners rely on parents to get on to computers. Again, we're developing remote learning expectations that are common across all 3 elementary schools, so that whenever a family goes on, no matter what elementary school, it's the same platform. It's going to be a Google Classroom platform, and everyone will sign on the same way. As far as safe environments, again, we want to continue to use our social emotional programs, and also think about social interaction when we do re-enter school. We know that's an important part of a young elementary school students' lives. So how do we adapt to the social distancing rules, but also provide some opportunities for play for our students? And we want to continue to provide interventions for students who do need that more support in social emotional areas, even as we are in remote learning or hybrid learning. We want to make sure that everyone is supported socially and emotionally as well. Do you have any questions before I turn it over to Marilyn Smith?
Thank
Okay, Marilyn.
you.
Okay, so Michelle brought you all of our curriculum, and basically I'm going to talk to you quickly about instructional practice. So using the curricula that Michelle had stated, the ELA, math, science, STEAM, we've been starting our conversations about how we're going to practice bringing this to our students, and on a model that's both in school and remote. So today we had a couple of grade level meetings across the district, and we're going to work really hard with our teachers on this model and how we can provide the same curriculum, the same assignments, the same Google platform amongst the 3 schools. So we're really going to push for teachers to work together as a grade level to come up with common lessons for remote learning, and following our scope and sequence from our Being a Writer, Making Meaning, our math workshop, so that parents can access the curriculum, whether they're in 1st grade or 3rd grade, whether they're cousins at Memorial Park or they're nephews at Eston. So everybody will be able to get on the same way, have the same kind of assignments if they're in the same grade level. It'll be tweaked a little based on the personality of the teacher, but for the most part, the curriculum instruction will be the same. So they're going to work on making videos together for our phonics program, for our phonemic awareness program. Our math coach has done some lessons, video lessons on different parts of math. So we're just going to all share our resources and pool our efforts so that we're not recreating the wheel all the time amongst 3 different schools. We're going to continue to support our learning environment being a safe one. It's going to take a little bit longer if we start remotely. Usually we have the first 6 weeks of school where we teach children about all our expectations. We're going to throw in this year a new one where we have how do we use technology appropriately, and teach children what a safe digital platform looks like and how to treat our equipment safely. So that's another part of being in a safe learning environment. Like I said, we're going to work together on our curriculum to be the same, our instructional practices, along with our assessments will all be common assessments done by the teachers, the math coach, and our ELA leads. We were fortunate to have Karen McKinnon work very closely with our ELA leads, so she's leaving us in a good place for ELA because she's worked with our ELA leads for a few years, and they'll be able to pick up on the practices that she's implemented for so long. So And we've been also fortunate as far as looking at our data and using what interventions that we have. Dr. Maniglia has been great in bringing all kinds of interventions in place. We have Lexia. We also have Linda Mood Bell and visualizing and verbalizing and their math program this year on Cloud 9. So we have great resources for our English language learners and working with those EL teachers. We all have Title I teachers who work with small groups and are able to do interventions. So we're able to differentiate our learning based on the needs of our students. And again, the people in those positions will work closely together across the 3 schools. So we'll align all of our support staff and all of our resources to make sure we give our children what they need. And that's my piece. So I'm going to turn it over to Jan.
Okay, thank you. So my piece is communication and relationships. And boy, was that tested over the past 3 months to see if our communication methods were solid. And I think that we really did well with our communication district-wide. I think we really did a lot of outreach. We had our social workers reaching out to families, our EL teachers, our special education teachers. Everyone had their hand in communicating with our families, and we were very pleased that we made contact with our families and really helped and supported them. Moving forward, we really would like to promote the district Rockland Public Schools app and communication through the app, as well as each of our schools uses either Blackboard or Class Dojo or some form of communication that's individualized to our school, but it meets the needs of our populations. So we will continue that. Also to provide translated materials to our families who need that type of communication. And thank you so much to Naya Callahan for all she does to help and support us in reaching families as well and translating for us. But that two-way communication will continue. It's very important. Our technology communication, either through social media or if it's an app, we will continue to do that to engage our families and keep them on top of any changes or needs that we need to communicate out. Also to foster partnerships within the community. Each of our schools, we all have something that we do within the town. I'll speak for Memorial Park. We are so lucky to have the senior center behind us, and that's our evacuation site. But they're also such wonderful people to be pen pals with our 4th graders and share their experiences with our 4th graders through a writing program. So that's wonderful. And then the Kindness Day that we do at Memorial Park, we try to just get out to the community, but we want to thank all the people that help us. Oftentimes we have to call 911, and it's those same firefighters our kids love to go visit on Kindness Day. So it's kind of just get that giving back to the community and thanking them for all they do for us. And just building those relationships with any outside agencies, if it's the YMCA, for vouchers for families in need, for summer camps. The state program, when we worked with them on our support for attendance. Any of those types of community services we would like to continue to have in place and to build upon. And then finally, it's resource allocation. And that will be very important this year as well as we look at the budget and see what we need to prioritize in making schedules that are either hybrid or remote, as well as in school. So we have a lot of work ahead. So we have professional development we need to look at, technology needs, upgrades to our technology, and upgrades and enhancing any curriculum that we have that would be the brick and mortar that is now maybe a hybrid model or remote. in supporting our teachers with that in Google Classroom. So basically, those are all of our initiatives that we will continue to have going forward and to strengthen as we go forward. Does
Thank
anyone
you.
have any questions for any of us?
Yeah, any questions for any of the elementary principals?
I have a comment. I'd just like to say that it's great to see everything laid out. I guess we can all hold each other accountable now that it's on paper and we have a plan now for 2021, especially if we go to a hybrid model, or say we go back to school in September and then October rolls around and we need to transition the next day to remote learning. I think being on the same page, all 3 elementary schools, is going to be great. That's it.
Thank you. I want to thank you for all your hard work. Those sounds good. Sounds wonderful. A process there, because we don't know if we're going to be back into the situation come the new school year, and we just got to be ready. I appreciate all your hard work for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Garofalo, do you have anything to add?
I mean, I will tell you, as a parent of 2 elementary students, I lived the elementary transition quite vividly recently with all this stuff. And I got to say, the constant updates and changes were good, and it was great to see everything happen, systemically across the board and how things were getting done. Like Emily said, maybe we start school in September, maybe we don't. At this point, I'm kind of sad that Representative DeCoste and Senator Keenan left, because I got a boatload of stuff to unload on them since they're leadership. Because with the leadership we have currently in the state, we can't even get a clear reopening plan on stuff when every other state around us is opening and thriving. So they want to continue to tank the economy and tank the schools, then that's what they're going to do. So at this point, I'm just preparing for the fact that we're going to be doing some ridiculous stupidness with how we handle school in terms of off on this, that, to get the parents that actually have to work and, all that stuff. It's going to be a clown show, and all they're doing is driving people out of school districts and into homeschool, which is going to look fabulous. So keep up the good work, principals, because you're doing a good job. I will, but if only the governor could do as good of a job as our school leadership was.
I think you froze. Thank you, Mr. Garofalo. I also want to just say thank you for your hard work in learning to pivot. We were sort of thrown into homeschooling, and you all just kept rolling, making sure your teachers and faculty are all on the same page, and you were very supportive to them. I agree with Emily. Thank you for putting it out so that we can see that there is a plan. It's not just us. We know you have a plan, but the people at home watching don't always know you have a plan. So I think it just really shows them that we are steering the ship and we are moving forward. So thank you for all your hard work. I would say enjoy your summer off, but we know that's not the way it's going to be this year. So maybe you can sit outside in the sun with your laptop. Sorry about that. We'll move on to the Jefferson School PAC report. And I will say, so we have Jefferson Memorial Park in Eston, and you all can leave us after you speak if you'd like, unless you want to stay on for the ride here. Okay.
Jill, can we get a vote on the elementary school improvement plan?
Sure. I'm sorry. I skipped. Yep.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? That was the 4 of us.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thanks, Dr. Brun.
No problem.
Go ahead, Nicole with Jefferson. Nicole O'Brien with Jefferson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole O'Brien. I'm the Jefferson chair. Yep. This is I've lost track how many years I've been and help them out with the tax. We had a great year up until March. We started our year out with a balance of about $2,300. We currently have a balance of $6,350.45. And in our fourth grade count, we have a balance of $1,518. And we do still have some scholastic money, which is great. We have $1,700.
Nicole, I'm going to interrupt you. You're very broken up.
And 60 cents. So this year
Nicole.
started off awesome. We had our booster-thon, which took in just about $15,000. So it was wonderful. We
Nicole.
were able to fund pretty much every teacher request. We provided all the
She can't hear you. She's got a
magazines,
slow.
library books.
That's it.
We provided a whole bunch of STEAM activities and just extras that the teachers needed. And we also were able to do like the fun stuff, recess equipment and indoor recess equipment and things like that. So we.
Nicole's going to switch to her phone.
Oh, all right. Can you hear me better? Or I can switch to my phone. I hate technology. This is not my jam.
This adds a new challenge to trying to have a committee
Do you
live,
want to
right?
get me and I'll go on to my phone? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next one, which is Memorial Park. We'll go to Cheryl, and then we'll go back to Nicole. Sorry about that. Cheryl, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Cheryl Common. I have been involved in the Memorial Park PAC for, I think this is my 8th year. I can thank Jill for dragging me into that.
Sorry.
Believe it or not, this is, with all the circumstances going on, this has been Memorial Park's best year of fundraising that I have seen the whole time that I've been there. We had a phenomenal fun run this year where we grossed $15,000 in our fun run. We never raised that much in one year. So just to gross that was great for us. And after all of our expenses and everything, we ended up with $1,000 profit from the fun run. So that was huge for us. We also did our community involvement this year where we provided Thanksgiving meals for 3 families at Memorial Park in need. We gave 2 $500 scholarships to graduating seniors at Rockland High School who attended Memorial Park. And we also supported 2 Memorial Park families with our Holiday Magic program. We wanted to do something really, really big for the school. We haven't been able to do that because we haven't had the resources. So we paired with Mrs. Sheehan and asked her what we could do with the fun run money to give something back to the school. So she came up with the idea of this book vending machine, and we all looked at it and worked together and designed it together. And the machine cost us about $4,000. And I feel like it's the best purchase that we could have ever made for the school. It will continually give to all the students. The kids love it. It gives them more incentive to read and a token system and just more of a want for them to do everything. And to stock the machine with the books, we use our Scholastic dollars that we make from our book fair. And this year this past fall, we had our biggest book fair that we've ever had in the past few years as well, where we made over $4,000. So we used all that money for Scholastic dollars that then Mr. Cheek can use to provide books for the vending machine. And other than that, we had our usual events, our Halloween dance, our special person dance, and those are always a big for us and do well for us. And I think that's it. I mean, we bought all the stuff for the fourth graders for their graduation, for the t-shirts and yearbooks. And we'll be doing the car parade for them this week. And then we're hoping to try to get back to somewhat of a normal in September. If we don't, we've looked into remote fundraising options as well already with a fun run or something we can do to have the kids do something to look forward to that.
All right, thank you. And it's not you saying just, and we just did this. Are you kidding me? We know you guys are crazy trying to do these packs. It takes a lot of work. And I know myself, I appreciate you. The students and the families appreciate you. You make a difference in their days. So thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for all you do. Thank the rest of your pack for us too.
Thank you.
Nicole O'Brien, you ready to try us again? This is like a game, round 2.
I dislike technology for this one reason, because I'm a talker and I can't handle when you can't hear me. So, all right, so I'll just start over. I'll introduce myself right from the beginning. My name's Nicole O'Brien. I am the Jefferson PAC chair. I've done this for a few years now, and this year started off just like any other. We started off with a balance of about $2,300, and we ended with our balance of $6,350.45, and our fourth graders have a budget of $1,518, and we do still have some money in Scholastic. We have $1,721.60. So year started off great. We had our booster-thon. We raised a little over $15,000, which was fantastic. We did our Yankee Candle fundraiser, which was a major snafu, but that's okay. We raised a lot of money. There was just a lot of issues. And then we had all of our fun things. We had our Halloween dance. We had our book bingos and special person dance and all that great stuff. And then obviously March happened and everything just kind of fell by the wayside. So right now we're kind of thinking for next year, just trying to put on hold some of our fundraising, but I have a meeting next week with Booster-thon on the 16th. And I'm sure Cheryl might too. We're hoping to maybe do a virtual fun run only because it's such a great moneymaker. And we know that with the budget that we're going to be dealing with, the teachers might need a little bit more than they would normally in terms of cleaning supplies and, you know, things like that to help keep our kiddos safe. So we are kind of freezing any spending as of right now. We did all the fourth grade, all our bills are paid out, you know, so we're in great shape, but we're hoping to kind of put that money aside just to support our teachers and our staff so that if there is budget cuts, you know, we can assist in any way that we can from the PAC perspective. And we'll just kind of take it as it goes. We have our little fourth grade, you know, drive-by celebration on Thursday. So we're going to try to make that as special as we can for those kids, because it was so sad to not have, you know, their luau and their, you know, barbecue and everything. So we're really going to try hard to make it special for them, because those kids have worked so hard and all the kids have worked so hard. So yeah, if you have any questions, happy to answer them, but we'll just see what happens.
I have no questions. I have only gratitude for all that you do. You guys are rocking it out of the park. And this year is such an odd year to, you know, for the fourth graders. You guys are doing your best for that. So I appreciate that. Anyone else have any comments for the first two?
Just thank you very much.
I can't let an opportunity for a good dad joke to pass. So, were you saying the Yankee Candle fundraiser?
There was some issues. You can ask Jean Maloney to share some stories. Anytime she said the word Yankee Candle to me, I may have just kind of put on a face. There was
that cringe face? Sure.
Just, you know, don't say those, like that's like a word we're not allowed to say anymore. We're not allowed to use the word Yankee Candle between Jean and I. So it was tough, but they were wonderful. But I do think we're going to kind of reprioritize or try to find some other things that we can do, because obviously we know everyone's on a budget. You know, everyone is saving every penny right now. So we don't want to put our parents in the position to feel like they have to buy the wrapping paper and, you know, do all that stuff. So I'm banking on this virtual fun run to be simple and easy, and maybe we can all do it. You know, just set it up once and we all kind of, you know, follow the same model. Because I want to make it as stress-free for our families, but obviously we need that little extra money just to support our teachers. So I know the three of us will come up with some great ideas, and we'll work together to make it as easy but as financially rewarding as possible, because we know every penny really, really counts right now.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. That sounds like a great plan. I'm sure you guys will all work together.
Yeah, we like each other a lot, so it works out.
Phew.
Oh, there's hope yet, huh?
All right. Thanks, Nicole. I'll move on to the next Nicole Dever with Eston School.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I know now everyone's nervous. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hear me? Yeah.
Deb, I miss you.
I know. We'll see each other soon. The rink is starting up.
Thank God.
Yeah. So I'm Nicole Dever. I'm with the Eston School PAC. This is my 6th year, I believe. Kind of lost count. They're all blurring together. We've had a great year. We still have donations coming in. So our account right now is currently sitting right around 25,000. And we have a principal's account. She's got some money in there. Our nurse's account. We have a Scholastic account that still has money. So we are sitting really good right now. We were still able to do all our 4th grade usuals, yearbooks, t-shirts. We're trying to figure out something to do with them maybe a little later in the summer, whether it's a yearbook signing pizza party or just something that they can get together and one last hurrah at Eston. We'll see if it's possible. We're not sure. We're going to see how it all plays out. We did a lot of our usuals at the beginning of this year. We did our volleyball charity game, and we were able to donate to 2 local charities. We did the Rockland Food Pantry and Holiday Magic. We sent them both checks for $400 each. We were able to do scholarships for the high school. We did 4 this year. And we had a couple of new things. We did math with treats this year around Halloween. It was very exciting for the kids. It was kind of like a hide and seek. They had to go find the math problems that were hidden all over the school. If they got them all right, they came to us and we gave them a treat bag, and they got to wear their Halloween costumes, and they really enjoyed that this year, and a lot nicer than a dance. You know how those can get. We were still able to do our holiday shopping, bring in some assemblies. We had the Sky Dome this year, which is awesome, the indoor planetarium. We had Joe Holiday, who was our Reading Rocks. We love him at Eston. He came and did a magic show and talks about reading and different books and tries to kick off our reading month. So we did all that. We have suspended our fundraisers for the beginning of the year next year right now. Kind of want to see where it goes, and we don't want people to have to worry about fundraising while possibly trying to do remote learning. So we've put that on hold for the beginning of next year. We're gonna see how everything works out and then make some decisions as it gets closer. We don't want to add more stress to people's plates, and our account is in good condition, so we can still help where we need to. Right before this went all down, we stocked all the teachers with Clorox wipes and hand sanitizer. So our winter flu and all that, when it started, we were in good shape. So that's about it. We're sad that the year is, we get to do all our fun stuff at the end of the year, field day and all that stuff. So we're sad that we don't get to do that, but it was a good year so far. Almost over.
Almost over.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. It is true, you all, work the beginning of the year to make your money, and then the end of the year you get to celebrate and spend some of it, and you missed all part. I think the teachers feel that way too. They get to know the kids all year and then they get to enjoy them the rest of the year.
Yeah, we still had like 3 more assemblies coming in and field day and 4th grade barbecues and all that stuff. So it's sad.
It
But
is sad for the kids to miss it, fun in elementary school. So thank you for all you do. Does anyone else have any comments, questions?
Yeah, just thank you very much. You did a great job.
thank you.
No, Mike's giving me a thumbs up. Okay. So thank you all for coming. We appreciate it. And to our principals as well, thank you for coming on this nice Monday night. We'll move on to Student Opportunity Act plan, and I'll pass it to Dr. Cron.
Thank you. As you know, the Student Opportunity Act passed last year, and with it came substantial influx of funding, or was supposed to come a substantial influx of funding. Rockland was due to receive, $1.6 million. We've talked about that quite a bit. Along with the Student Opportunities Act, school districts were required to file a Student Opportunities Act plan with the Department of Education to tell them how we were going to spend all of this additional funding. So the Student Opportunity Act plan that you have in front of you was our plan prior to COVID-19. Our plan now still includes much of what is in the Student Opportunity Act plan. We still plan to work hard to close our achievement gaps with English language learners and students with special needs. We still plan to reach out actively to parents and do all of the things that are in our Student Opportunity Act plan. But for the most part, I will say this plan will be taken over by our remote learning plan and our plans for reopening school in fall.
Yeah.
I also see we are operating under a 5-year strategic plan for the district. And I think that as soon as the dust settles from reopening school, we need to go back to the table and reimagine the Rockland Public Schools for the next 5 years. And I think there have been enough changes and there are enough profound things going on, not just budgetarily, but obviously with remote learning, that we need to reassess and redefine what our priorities are for the next 5 years. So I'll be recommending that we re-engage in strategic planning beginning in this coming fall. So the Student Opportunity Act plan, I would ask that the school committee approve it. I have filed it with the Department of Education to meet the deadline, but I'm just trying to give a little bit of perspective on this plan, and that to me, it's of limited value at this point in the process because of all of the important work that we have coming up in the next few weeks to start to plan for reopening. Does anyone have any questions about the plan?
No.
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 A
I have
motion
a question.
motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Emily, good?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the 4 of us, Dr. Cron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
On to a donation. We have received a donation from Team AMF. They were kind enough to send us a donation of $250 AMF Technologies here on VFW in Rockland. So we want to say thank you to them for sending that to us. Every dime counts, so that is very generous of them. On to FY21 transportation contract. Am I passing that to Ms. Hackett?
Yes.
So yes.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, I should have said under the FY 2021 budget how closely we are working together with the town. It's a true partnership. We're a team, and it's going extremely well. And I think we're having really good exchanges on almost a daily basis on navigating our way through this. So I should have said that under the 2021 budget. But on the FY21 transportation contract, I'm very pleased to request that we accept
paying a reduction in our transportation costs for March 14th through the end of the school year of 70% and only pay 30% of the transportation contract now through the end of, from March 14th to the beginning of the year. It's a very good settlement.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank
It's a team
you.
effort. Felicia, we banded together. Felicia in Abington chaired the committee for us. She's the assistant superintendent of admin and finance, but Weymouth, Abington, really the Lighthouse Group, the South Shore, 10 communities came together. This takes out their wage costs, their benefit costs, discounts, maintenance and repairs. It's the best settlement that we've seen in the Commonwealth so far
Great, great.
with first
So-
student.
Okay,
But just to be clear, we are settling on not paying 70% of our total bill. We're settling on paying only 30.
30. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Just to be clear, we're only paying 30% of what we owe them. So it's a very good settlement on our.
And they're
So,
required
30
to send us a signed affidavit that they haven't received all these different programs to benefit themselves. So they're not double dipping, just like we can't double dip under the CARES Act. This prevents them. The legislation that was signed into law by the governor on Friday requires them to send us a signed affidavit to ensure that they are not double dipping.
So any additional subsidies or anything like that, they have to disclose.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
great. Thanks, Jane, for
We
working.
need a motion on that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? That's 4.
Aye, aye.
Okay, thanks, Jane and Dr. Cron.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work. Good work.
There's everybody. Thanks.
All right, we'll move on to public service announcements. And as usual, ladies first, Mrs. Davidson.
I'd just like to wish everyone a happy last day of school, even though it's a little different than it has been years past, but especially to the parents and the people that have been home with the students since March, chugging along and working in the unknown. I'm sure they're just as happy that the school year is over. So congratulations.
Thank you. Mr. Mills?
Do the same thing. You thank parents and students and everything else. I truly understand how difficult this period of time is. Dealing with my side, my students and my parents, and also the school district that I work for. But it's been really difficult, and people are doing the best they can, and I really appreciate it. And I understand that the Rockland public school systems is doing the same thing and helping anybody else out. If you have any issues, you need anything, give the school department or give us a call. Let us know, what's going on in your life. Yeah. And wish everybody the rest of the June and, get some rest and get ready for, whatever's to come next. God bless everybody.
Thanks, Mr. Mills. Mr. Garofalo?
It's been a fun extended 3-year term that, right now is my last meeting. With that being said, and the, news on Mr. Phelps, I am about 5% sure that I will be sending a letter to the Board of Selectmen and to the school committee about his vacancy. I feel as if I had a crystal ball back in February, not been removed from the ballot and all this that's going on. The fact that we don't have a idea what the state's giving us for money, we have no idea how schools are going to look next year, and we have an absolute train wreck of leadership in the state. I don't feel good in walking away and having Mr. Phelps and myself gone. So I have a little bit more thinking to do, and it looks like I have a little bit of time on that. But if I don't come back, it was a great immensely, and enjoyed, seeing things that I saw and all the accomplishments by our kids. And if I do come back, I look forward to trying to get things moving in the right direction and not the, a downward slope that the state seems to want everything to go. So that's.
Well, thank you, Mike, and we're looking forward. I'm sure you're going to be around. I got that feeling.
Thank
Thanks,
you, Mike.
Mike.
Thank you.
I have this plaque to give to you, Mike, as well. I will be bringing it to
Hold on
you.
to it.
Hold
on
well,
to it.
that's the thing. Here we have a plaque, but I don't know, do we just remove the plate? I'm not sure, but it does thank you for your service. I feel like I keep thanking you for the last few meetings, so I appreciate you being here and sticking it through with us.
For the next.
What? I'm sorry.
I said it's only been 2 months.
Right,
really.
that's fine. You're
That's all
fine.
right.
And I just wanted to say thanks to Senator John Keenan and our state rep Dave DeCoste for coming on with us tonight. And I want to say have a happy and safe summer for everyone. We've made it through. We have a couple more days here. It hasn't been a fun spring, but hopefully the summer will be better. With that, I'll accept a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Aye, aye.
Second. All those in
Thank you
favor?
very
All
much.
right. Have a great night. Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank
Thanks.
you all.
Thank
Sorry
you.
I was late.